Hello, my beautiful friends. It is an amazing day. Welcome back. I hope that your weekend was outstanding and that your week is off to an incredible start. We have some business to attend to today, some hurricane updates because the hurricane is impacting the election. A lot of people are gaming out how that's going to work. And so we're going to be talking about the latest in North Carolina. We've got some updates on some Jack Smith stuff, even some people who are normally pro DOJ are questioning what Jack Smith is doing here, and Kamala is fully exploiting him. And we've got some YouTube censorship stuff, but it looks like the tubes have connected themselves, which means it's a good time to jump into a preview and show you what is cooking on the show today. You can see here, fresh out of the oven, October 7th, we have just under 30 days until the election is upon us. We have a new update from North Carolina. Bipartisan state board unanimously approves measures to help the North Carolina voters. Of course, Hurricane Helene came through, caused a ton of damage. Many people still recovering and will be for quite some time. And another hurricane is coming down to bear upon the same region. So it's not good, but we're asking ourselves how this is going to impact the election. And I've got a bunch of stuff I want to run through with you today because it's quite interesting. I'll show you who the board is. We'll go through the board hearing because they actually had a meeting that looked like this. And I'll play a little bit of it for you and then show you what the resolution itself actually looks like, because it is here and it has now passed and it will change the election. It's going to change some of the rules. Going to create what is interesting is a little bit of a new get out the vote kind of a team that will be governed. A lot of this stuff is going to now be delegated up to, theoretically in some way, the state board from the local counties. And the local counties, as we have contemplated here before, are very red. So anyways, we'll talk about what it means. We'll go through the filings. We'll see what Kamala had to say about money for those impacted. And then we've got Karine, who's coming out, bunch of clips from her. So we're excited to round out the segment with some Karine. Then we're going to go over and see what's happening with Jack Smith and Kamala, because Kamala released a new campaign ad that is invoking Jack Smith's motion. Look, his opening brief, literally screenshotting it and cut an ad, a 30-second ad over this. So that's curious, because she's in the executive branch, which is governing Jack Smith. Even though he's a special counsel, he works for Merrick Garland. He's not an independent counsel. No, he's still under the DOJ, which is still under Merrick Garland. So feels like it might be election interference, election collusion, because she's referencing his report in her campaign against Trump. And so all that's coming up. Then I want to share with you this report from Elie Honig. We play clips from him often here. And he wrote a whole report saying that Jack Smith is committing an October cheap shot, which is obviously true. And we'll read through what his opinion was on this, because it's interesting when he starts calling it out. They even brought him out on CNN and he shared his opinion here with this anchor and said the same thing. Now, Hillary was also talking about this, saying that Jack Smith is legitimate and she was confusing her cases. She got her classified documents case crisscrossed because that's all she could think about is her deleted emails. But we'll go through this and see what some of that reaction is about Jack Smith's big, disgusting opening brief before we turn our attention and ask ourselves what's cooking with YouTube. Because Congress and the Judiciary Committee and Jim Jordan sent a letter over to YouTube, the CEO of Alphabet, Mr. Sundar, and they're asking about YouTube censorship. I think about 2 weeks ago, we talked with the Empower Oversight folks, our friends over there, who were representing the whistleblowers, including the whistleblower Marcus Allen, the FBI staff operations specialist, who's under attack by our own useless government, including the FBI. And they have now censored him. He went on and did an interview and prayed the rosary, of all things, with Catholics for Catholics, a nonprofit organization over on YouTube. They posted it on YouTube, and guess what YouTube did? Delete it. because I guess praying the rosary is illegal now or something. So we'll read through this. We'll see what Congress is looking at, but they've launched a probe into YouTube saying, have you deleted these videos? And if so, what's your intention? Are you going to post those back up, or what's the deal? And so we'll read through this. We'll see what Congress is saying about this. Then I've got some other clips and even an excerpt from the interview itself from Catholics for Catholics. And there's this scandal afoot at college universities, speaking of big tech and censorship and all these things. Apparently, Kamala sent text messages to 150,000 students at like every single Arizona university, which I don't know how she did that, or how she's allowed to do that, or if that's a thing, or if they're also going to give the lists to President Trump. I doubt it. But the Arizona College Republicans apparently are reporting this. It's got 2.5 million views on this puppy, saying that they blasted everybody. It just happens to be a swing state with 150,000 kids, just reminding them, go vote for Kamala. This is Kamala. We love you, and all the things. And we're going to delete your student debt. Remember all that? So college Republicans at ASU posted about that. And then Hillary is also out saying that they need to control the media, or else they're going to die, or the country's going to die, or democracy's going to die, or something. And then we've got one final clip of Elon and Tucker coming up. This is a good one because they talk about the Epstein files, and Elon names some names on who he thinks is working for the Democratic side that are their billionaires that are working overtime to stop the Epstein files, stop Trump from winning, so that the Epstein files do not get released because their names might be on them. And so we've got a great stream planned ahead, my friends. I'm glad that you're here in with us today. The dockets were a little bit light today. Congress is not in session, but the Supreme Court is back in session, and we'll keep our eye on that as well. There were a couple other very minor updates in the Diddy case, and I think there was a scheduling change. He's got a hearing that was on Wednesday, got moved to Thursday, and that was about it. Pretty light day. Judge Chutkan in the January 6th case with Jack Smith also denied some amicus filings, but otherwise, pretty quiet day out there. But we do have business to attend to, as we discussed, including in North Carolina, and we're excited to get into it. But before we do, you know what we have to talk about? Our good friend, Chuck Norris. You ever wonder what happened to Chuck Norris, man? Well, I'm about to tell you. I recently saw a video he made. It looks like this, and it's over on the link down below. If you click that link, it'll take you here. He's amazing. Look at him. He's 80 years old, still working out, still kicking butt, staying active. And he can work out stronger, longer. He's got energy left over. He hangs out with his grandkids and more. And he did all this by making just one change. He feels like he's still in his 50s. His wife even started doing this one thing. She's never felt better either. She says that she feels 10 years younger. Her body looks leaner, and she has energy every day. It's good for Chuck. Chuck made a special video that explains everything. Make sure you watch it. Go to chuckdefense.com/RG or click the link below this video. It's going to change the way you think about your health. Once again, chuckdefense.com/RG. Not going to believe how simple it is. It's Chuck Norris. He's 84. He's got more energy than me. Look at him out by the lake with a dog. I don't even do that. He discovered he could create dramatic changes to his health. Just focus on these three things that sabotage our body as we age. Go to chuckdefense.com/RG, chuckdefense.com/RG. It's a great video, and we love Chuck Norris. We love Chuck Norris, so go check it out. Link down below. Thanks for supporting our sponsors. All right. And today, it's time to get into it now. We've got business to attend to, and well, we'll plug EricsHouse after this segment. EricsHouse is coming up soon because we got a lot of EricsHouse promos this week. Just brace for it. It's coming. I love you, but it's for a good cause. All right, so let's get to it because we've got changes in North Carolina. The hurricane is changing the election. We see that the bipartisan state board of North Carolina approves measures to help voters adjust to the damage after Helene. Now, anytime I see anything that starts with a bipartisan anything, my government distaste spidey sense, whatever you want to call it, starts to ring at 5 alarms because makes me feel like it's not bipartisan at all. If it was legitimate, then you wouldn't have to smash it in our face all the time. It's bipartisan, bipartisan, bipartisan. But I'm sure they're good people, and I'm sure they're changing all of this in the interests of free and fair elections. We're going to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I mean that genuinely. But we still are going to peer into this thing and see how this is working, because other people who are not these people might exploit their good intentions. They make some changes to help the victims of the hurricane who actually do need help because they were obliterated. But other nefarious actors who are familiar with the election mechanics get in there and exercise pressure and cause a ruckus. So as we'll see, this is an update from the new North Carolina State Board of Elections, ncsbe.gov. And they met on Monday and they unanimously approved a long list of emergency measures to help the Helene victims. We're going to understand what those measures are because they have a final signed resolution. Now, we also have a copy of the meeting. It voted 5-0. There's Democrats and Republicans on the board. I'm going to explain who is on the board. In fact, let's talk about that right now. These are the board members. And the way that some of these boards work, I don't know how it works exactly in North Carolina, but in Arizona, a lot of these boards are populated by just regular citizens. They're not paid, they're volunteer, and they donate their time. But the actual employees of the state and the county actually are really running things, right? So the boards are more or less advisory. And I don't know if that's exactly how that's working here, but we'll peer into the meeting itself in a second. But this guy is the chair. His name is Alan Hirsch. He's been a board member since May 2023, and he is a Democrat. Works for Healthcare Quality Alliance. This other guy, another Democrat. He's a lawyer from Snow Hill, North Carolina, been a board member since 2019, secretary since 2023. So board and the secretary, chair and the secretary, Democrats. Then we've got board member Stacy Four, I guess is his name. Eggers, the fourth, became a board member, was reappointed. He's a Republican. He is a managing partner of a law firm. Then we have another Republican. So we're 2-2. Kevin Lewis is an attorney at the Valentine law firm. Worked also on the Nash County Board of Elections for a while, 2007 to 2023. So been a board member for a long time in another county. Been a board member since May 2023 on this board. And then lastly, we've got a Democrat. So Sheilbon O'Duffy, a Democrat, retired lawyer, volunteer voter registrar, member of the Dix Parks Conservancy, the Flower Shuttle Boards, Church Refugee Committee, sponsoring an Afghan family. Well, that's really nice. She was chief judge in Raleigh for 13 years from North Carolina. All right, so she took that occupation section very seriously. And it is pretty interesting how that works. That's funny. All the dudes are like lawyers, lawyer, president. She's like, well, I was born in a middle-class family and started with my mom, Dix Park Conservancy, and then I adopted some Afghanis in my hometown of Raleigh. All right. So anyways, then what you'll see is Karine. Now, this is the state board executive director. And in my time around these boards, what we've often experienced is these people actually run things. Okay, so this person is actually in charge of this whole thing because she's the director. So she's going to work with the state lawyer. The state lawyer or the county lawyer is going to help figure out what needs to ultimately happen. Then they present it to the board. Then the board just approves it and rubber stamps it. So that's the makeup. 3 Democrats, 2 Republicans, and let's peer in on a short board session. So as we described, these are all the people who were there. Now we got Eggers, number 4, who's a Republican. Alan is a Democrat. We've got Paul Cox, who is not on the list. He is going to be the counsel. We got this Democrat is here. Jeff Carmen's the Democrat. And the other Republican, I do not know if he is on there. Are we seeing the other Republican on the board? He's there. Is that guy? Is that Kevin Lewis? Man, is that an old photo? Where'd that go? I think that just might be an old photo or something. Let's see. Oh, yeah, there it is. No, yeah, okay, I guess that's him. Okay, so I wanted to just share this with you, all right? So these are all the board members. They're all there. And Karen Bell is going to introduce why we need all these resolutions. Yeah, Lewis, sorry. Yeah, he's right there. Sorry, I missed them. I guess I wasn't expecting the beard, I guess. I didn't recognize him, but yeah, it's him. All right, so let's listen to a little bit of this. This is Karen Bell. She's really running the show. So she just brings this lawyer on. This lawyer is going to give him a nice list of things. And then they'll all just, adopt it. I listened to this full thing earlier on. It's not that interesting, to be honest with you, because they all just say, we need this, right? They all seem like they're good people. They're all working hard. And they all have their neighborhoods and people that they care about in dire straits. So there's a lot of, we're doing amazing and we do a great job. And thank you to everybody for getting everything done. There's a lot of that in here. And so let me just play a little bit of this so you can get a feel for what's going on.
That we can be. This may not be our only ask to the board. There may be further actions that we identify as we further assess the situation, as we learn more from the various utility companies about what's possible and what's not possible for early voting or even election day. And then, of course, we will have to consider if there are any actions that need to be taken in order to successfully complete the canvass period for these counties, as this disruption may continue even past election day, obviously. So happy to answer any questions that you may have. Otherwise, I can turn it over to General Counsel Cox to go over the bullet points of the resolution.
Members of the board.
Alan's the chair, Democrat.
Okay, I hear nothing now. So Paul, you want to pick up?
Sure. All right, so then this is the lawyer, the general counsel for the government, and he's going to run us through a series of proposed changes. We'll just play a little bit of it, then I'll actually just read it and we'll go through them much more quickly.
Mr. Chair and members of the board, good morning. As the board knows, and the board took action last week for emergency measures initially, the board has authority under General Statute 163-27.1 to conduct an election where the normal schedule has been disrupted by a natural disaster and other emergencies. And that includes instituting measures that are required to make sure that people can vote under the normal schedule, that the opportunities to vote are similar to those in other counties, that the schedule is maintained for elections, and it involves making sure that those measures do not result in unnecessary conflict with other provisions of election law. So the authority that the board has is to carefully craft measures that are tailored to the specific emergency that is faced by a particular area of the state. In this instance, we have a group of 13 counties where the infrastructure for conducting elections, the accessibility of voting sites, and the disruption in postal service and transportation in particular remains severely disrupted by Tropical Storm Helene. Those counties are Ashe, Avery, Buncombe, Haywood, Henderson, Madison, McDowell, Mitchell, Polk, Rutherford, Transylvania, Watauga, and Yancey.
All right, and we're going to come back to that because I actually pulled up a couple of maps of the damage, and then we can superimpose that on the 2020 election presidential results that show Trump versus Biden in those same counties. But this is also interesting because they're admitting in a way, right now, we're still in the fog of war. And I know that there are a lot of people that have their entire lives obliterated. And so we don't really know what the truth is, right? I see videos on multiple different sides of the story. I've seen people today there was a new video of some Black Hawk helicopter blowing stuff off what looked like a donation center. And then simultaneously, I've seen other videos of just random dudes out there saying, hey, I'm standing in the city. Okay, there aren't bodies everywhere. I know there's people said there's bodies everywhere, but I'm standing here. There's not. Look, right? And so there's a lot of that happening. But I've also seen a lot of people stating that the elections are not going to be impacted. I don't know if you've seen that, or people saying, don't worry about it. They're all going to get their ballots, right? And I know that people have to say stuff like that after a disaster. Relax, okay? We're all not going to die. Calm down. Plane's not going to crash. Sit down. Put your seatbelt on. Relax. But we actually do need to know in this case if the ballots are going to get there and if they're going to get returned. Like if the mail is not working, then the mail-in ballot system is not going to be useful to anybody. And so in this board meeting, in order to justify all these changes, they're admitting that the infrastructure is severely damaged, okay, in order to justify these changes. So we can all agree that it is severely damaged and that there will be a lot of opportunities for stuff to get messed up. And I'm not saying it's, automatically we default to nefariousness, but you never let a crisis go to waste. That's exactly what Rahm Emanuel said. He worked closely with Obama, who's still running things.
And as we've been working over the last week and a half in constant communication with our field representatives in the region, with emergency management and the directors and staff from those counties, we've been able to take stock of all the difficulties they're facing. We've identified those in the resolution and the prefatory language explaining the basis for the board's actions if the board were to take those actions. Now, very briefly, I'll run through what the proposal entails.
Now, we'll read through it because they passed it ultimately. So if you fast forward through it, he talks and explains all the things. There are a couple questions about a couple provisions. Someone makes a suggestion to have some updates once a week so we know what the total number of ballots are and so on. But ultimately, they pass it. It passes unanimously. And the reason why people get a little suspicious about how this might be exploited is because people like David Axelrod, who we've heard on other podcasts before, gaming out the electoral consequences of this, clipped from our friend Charlie Kirk on another podcast. David Axelrod, who worked with Obama, worked very, very closely with Rahm Emanuel, Mr. Never Let a Crisis Go to Waste, is here saying that, the Trump poors who are too unsophisticated to figure out what to do after a hurricane aren't going to get out and vote. But all of the rich Democrats who hang out with pharmaceutical reps and executives are going to flee back to their second homes and vote their 50 ballots.
Here's my question about North Carolina. You had these killer storms, which, by the way, was a third big story this week.
Yes,
These
another
storms. And there's a lot of displacement in western North Carolina. Now, Asheville is a blue dot in that area.
I was going to
say,
say, Asheville's
Republican voters there.
Yeah.
But those voters in Asheville are, they're the kind of voters who will figure out a way to vote. They're upscale, kind of liberal voters, and they're probably going to figure out a way to vote. I'm not sure a bunch of these folks who've had their homes and lives destroyed elsewhere in western North Carolina in the mountains there are going to be as easy to wrangle for the Trump campaign. So that's I don't know how that's all going to play out, but it's an unpredictable element in North Carolina that has made it maybe a little more interesting.
Yeah, he's right about that. It is unpredictable, and you make your money in the mess. You make your grift in the gray area. Whenever there is a chaotic environment, people can come in and exploit it. We saw that during COVID in 2020. So I'm having flashbacks to a bygone era, which we thought was over. But apparently it's not. So you can see what they're talking about. They're gaming this out. In 2020, some of the reddest counties in North Carolina were over here on the western part of the state. You can see Clay County all throughout here. Basically, this entire region is what got obliterated. We have this one little blue dot here, which is the Boone-Combe County, which is there. That's that little dot they're talking about. Charlotte's here. Big Democratic turnout around the cities. Raleigh, I know I butcher it every time, Greensboro, and Fayetteville are there. But if we take a look at the damage in those different counties that were declared to be part of the disaster zone, what you'll see is that looks like this, right? It's right there. It's basically those same counties. So, oh yeah. And all those people should be about millions of votes that are still out, or theoretically it might be about 1 million votes. Let me share this number with you because there was another update that came from the government there. Now, they provided some updates. That's not the tab. It must be this one. So these are the emergency counties. And here are the numbers of votes that are, I guess, available. Total registered voters in the 25 declared disaster counties. So, and it looks like not all 25 disaster counties were included in that resolution. So it might be a narrower batch. But what we see is total 1.2 million votes. Breakdown by the party, 293,000 Democrats, 480,000 Republicans, and small numbers for the rest of the parties. Now, of these, absentee ballots sent, 41,000 absentee ballots were sent. Only 2,200 were returned for those counties, which means there are 38,000 of them that are outstanding. Whew. So that's a lot. And the margins are pretty close. Let's see. Trump won by about 75,000 votes. Is that about right? In 2020, Trump won the state by about 75,000 votes. So it's a bigger win in North Carolina. But if they obliterate, let's say if they suppress turnout, but 10%, that's 100,000 votes. That's 120,000 votes out of those 1.2 million. So those could be big numbers. We could see if it's, we'll see if it's consequential. We certainly believe the Democrats want it to be consequential. Here's what the latest resolution that was just passed actually says. So you remember this. Remember when we read through a bunch of these back during COVID? It would always come from some state board. We read through like 1 million of them in Arizona because I was really upset about it. Every time Doocy would release a new one, we'd put it up on the screen. He'd say, "Where's COVID? COVID, we're dying of emergency." Every friggin' 2 weeks. Extended. Remember that crap? All right. Well, this one looks the same. Whereas there was a disaster, there was a hurricane. Okay, we got it. Thousands of customers, cellular service. It's all a big stuff. So we get to change everything because of this emergency, right? They make their record for the emergency. And I'm not saying that there was not an emergency there. And I'm not saying that any of this is not legitimate or absolutely necessary. I'm just reviewing it to see how it's going to be exploited, just like COVID was. So they tell us, therefore, the state board hereby resolves the following for the 2024 election in North Carolina. They say, all right, pursuant to this law in the general statutes, the boards of elections for these counties are authorized to modify their early voting plans by bipartisan majority vote. So the counties can change things if at a county level they make adjustments without a requirement for the state board to approve these modifications. So this actually kind of makes sense, right? Give the local boards a little bit more power to modify things. And if you think about this strategically, those 13 counties, what are those counties? Are they probably Republican counties? Are the Republicans going to be controlling the modification of the plans, or are the Democrats going to be modifying all the plans? All right. Now, to approve any such modifications, the county board must make written findings in the resolution. The modifications may include, so at the various county level, right, the state board met, and they're saying, okay, all the counties of these 13, you guys can make these changes in those individual squares. You can change or add voting sites. You can remove sites that are unusable. Before removing a site, you shall make all feasible attempts to maintain the site's availability, right? So our voting site's going to start disappearing. or being added. Adding or reducing days that any site is open within the established early voting period. So changing the hours and also the days and the hours. You can change the date and the hours. Now, the uniform hours make reasonable efforts to notify about the changes. Okay, so change some times, dates, hours, stuff like that. Then they can also adjust the polling places. Now, the boards of the counties are authorized to modify their voting sites by a bipartisan majority vote, so it cannot be all one-sided. To approve the modifications, the county board, their election day precinct voting site, so like day of. If in making any modifications, try to provide voting access as close to existing locations as possible, and only move them as a last resort. So we wake up, all the Republican polling places are suddenly in New York City. Just hop on a plane and go vote there. Transfer voters from a given precinct, establishing out of precinct voting places. So we get it, right? So they're going to establish some other locations. Now let's talk about poll worker recruitment and assignment. They can do the following. Appoint election officials for early voting and election day voting sites who are registered voters of other North Carolina counties, so outside help can come in, so the people who weren't impacted can come in and help, theoretically. Appoint election officials for election day voting sites without regard to the official's precinct of residence. Again, so outside people can come in and help, essentially, or do whatever. If the chair is filling a vacancy, the chair shall replace someone with someone of the same party to the extent that's possible. Appoint emergency election day assistants and assign them to a precinct, and reassign poll workers to locations where they were not originally designated, right? So you can cross-mingle, co-mingle things. County boards may, without needing to even take a vote, administer the oath of office to election officials who must be sworn in before Election Day by electronic means. Oh, great. So the Democrat brown shirts are coming in. Just swear an oath. Swear them in. Notice of any appointments made under this section shall be given to the appointed official and provide notice. Now, this is where we had the biggest question on all of this stuff, was absentee voting, because there was some indication from North Carolina law. The interpretation was that with absentee voting, if you utilize an emergency provision or a hurricane provision and you didn't have ID and you didn't have backup ID, that you could just sign an affidavit. And we read that exploit in a prior video here. And so we're asking ourselves, is this what they'll utilize when they're not letting this crisis go to waste? But here is what it says. Now, process here. By way of resolution, the Board of Elections for the affected counties shall do the following. So it's mandatory. If your county is one of the 13, you must do the following. You must process an absentee ballot request from a voter or a voter's near relative or legal guardian up until the day before the election, similar to the provision here. And I wonder if if someone will file a lawsuit about this, saying, well, it's similar, but it doesn't say that you can do that, right? Just in thinking about, okay, the RNC gets a hold of this and says, wait a minute, what you're telling them to do is out of alignment with the law. Now, to be clear, I've not read that particular statute, but I'm thinking those questions. Now, the voter or the voter's near relative is still required to complete the absentee request form with the required personal information, and that information must be verified as with any absentee request. Now, but the board may provide the voter or the voter's near relative with the voter's absentee ballot envelope at the office location. So that means they get an active ballot. I think that's what they're meaning. You get them the envelope and the ballot there, and verification will happen later. All right, let's continue. They must also process a spoil and reissue or cure of an absentee ballot from a voter in person at the county board office. A voter's near relative or guardian may retrieve any reissued ballot package if the other one is spoiled. The county shall maintain a log of those things. Now, they also shall accept the delivery of completed absentee ballots from Election Day voting sites operated by the county board, as long as those ballots were delivered by 7:30 on Election Day. Officials shall maintain a log and chain of custody and documentation consistent with how early voting officials carry this task to be delivered. And they must accept the delivery of completed absentee ballots by mail if those ballots were delivered to another board of county, as long as those ballots were delivered by 7:30 p.m. on Election Day, and ultimately received by the Board of Elections for the voters' county the day before the county canvass. So get those ballots in. Now, similarly, pursuant to this law, voters registered in the same counties that were identified above or their near relatives may hand deliver their ballots as long as it comes in by 7:30. That if they receive an out-of-county absentee ballot, they shall immediately date stamp the absentee ballot envelope and shall ensure that the ballot of such voters are delivered to the Board of Elections for that county, either by trackable mail, commercial delivery, staff, or someone else. So then they're reshuffling the ballots back to the counties. The state board or county board receiving the out-of-county ballot shall note the date, time, and the individual receiving the ballot, so creating a chain of custody, on a weekly basis, and on election night. Each receiving county shall report to the state board if they got the ballots, and those impacted by those who came through this way. If the delivery to the voter's county is made by the staff, have document the chain of custody. Okay. Now, this is also interesting. These MAT teams. Pursuant to Georgia law, the Board of Elections for the same counties by a bipartisan majority vote are authorized to do the following: appoint multi-partisan assistance teams who are registered voters of other North Carolina counties to come in. So other MATs, multi-partisan assistant teams from other counties can come into their counties. They can also appoint MAT members who are unaffiliated or affiliated with minor parties where there are insufficient registered voters to appoint to a MAT from each of the two political parties with the highest number of affiliated voters, right? So this is where you start, okay, what are these MAT teams, like get out the vote teams? Schedule MATs to assist with absentee ballot requests and absentee voting at disaster shelters and other places where disaster relief is provided to the general public, to the same extent that MATs are authorized to assist in covered care facilities, right? You see that right there. So they'll just set up these shops and just start registering. Everybody can just come in and register. And of course, a lot of people will have disaster needs. And I'm glad that they'll be getting disaster needs cared for. But then they'll be registering a bunch of other people to vote. And I wonder what party they'll be voting for. MATs in these counties are also authorized to receive and deliver to the County Board of Elections the completed ballots or cure at any site that the MAT is authorized to serve. If a MAT member fails to sign the assistance section of the absentee ballot envelope, that is not a ballot application deficiency, so long as the county board can otherwise determine that assistance was provided by the MAT. That's interesting. You see that? That's curious right there. So I think what that means is, let's use a very compelling example. They're going to use a multi-partisan assistance team to go in to help the senior citizens who've been impacted by the hurricane. We love our senior citizens. So they're going to go there and they're going to help them. Now, when they're filling it out, so they fill out a form. Did anybody help you complete this ballot? Yes. The government appointed multi-partisan assistant team employee number 7, Molly, highlighter girl, right? So she's there helping people register. Now, she doesn't put her name on that, so we don't know who she is or what's going on. That vote still counts. So these people can come in from other parts of the state, help a bunch of people in disaster centers get registered, fill out a bunch of forms for them, not show who they are, not actually fill out the form appropriately. Then if the application is deficient, doesn't matter. That as long as it came from somebody who worked with the MAT team, not specifically who it was, still good to go. Right? Now, voter registration. Pursuant to also this Georgia law, by way of this resolution, the board also authorized themselves to process voter registration for the counties. So the state board now can now process registration. Data entry. Similarly, a board of elections for the same counties may authorize election staff of other counties to carry out voter registration. So they can cross-pollinate. Counties are now commingling. And by way of this resolution, the board also acknowledges the need for continued coordination with the North Carolina Division of Emergency Management to aid the local jurisdictions in their elections. The task force between the state board and the NCEM is actively conducting resources to support the affected counties. The state board shall designate a liaison to each of the affected counties to facilitate restrooms and generators and all the things, all other personnel as necessary. Signed by Alan Hirsch, Chair, State Board of Elections, and implemented by North Carolina. So interesting changes, and we saw a lot of this type of stuff back during COVID. They changed everything. They changed signatures and deadlines and collection locations, drop boxes, presumptions of this and more. And so you never let a crisis go to waste. As Rahm Emanuel said, this is one of them. Now, Doocy, Peter Doocy, was asking about some of this when the White House came back in session and Karine Jean-Pierre was explaining to America how they failed so badly at basically everything. But Kamala is getting questioned over this post. She dropped this one on October 5th, says, the people of Lebanon are facing an increasingly dire humanitarian situation. And all the people of North Carolina were like, what? I am concerned, says Kamala, about the security and the well-being of civilians suffering in Lebanon, and will continue working to help meet the needs of all civilians there. Now, to that end, the United States will provide nearly $157 million in additional assistance to the people of Lebanon for essential needs such as food, shelter, water, protection, and sanitation to help those who have been displaced by the recent conflict. This additional support brings total U.S. assistance to Lebanon over the last year to $385 million. That's a lot. That's a lot of super chats. And you might be wondering why I like this post. And I like it because I want more people to see it so that everybody can see what Kamala is doing. I think it's a nice message for more Americans to see that over the last year, $385 million going to Lebanon, while the rest of our citizens wonder, wait a minute, Lebanon and Ukraine, and that's a lot, man. Where's this money keep going? Well, we have Karine Jean-Pierre, who was asked about this, and when I saw what Karine was wearing today, I literally laughed out loud today. It reminded me of that character from, it's either Beetlejuice or the Mario Bros with the little head. All right, here it is.
This issue of funding. The administration has money to send to Lebanon without Congress coming back. But Congress does have to come back to approve money to send to people in North Carolina. Do I have that right?
Here's what I'm going to be very clear about. The president and the vice president has had a robust whole of government response to this. Hundreds of millions of dollars. I said it at the top, more than $200 million that we have directly put towards survivors here for disaster help. And that's because of this president's commitment to make sure that we are there for communities that are impacted. We take this very seriously again. We take this very seriously. And before the hurricane hit, we pre-positioned more than 1,500 federal folks on the ground to help. And so we have made sure that every state has gotten their storm requested emergency declaration. They requested it, and we made sure they received it. We've taken this very seriously. More than $200 million that we have provided to the impacted areas. But instead, people want to do disinformation, misinformation, which is dangerous, because then when folks on the ground hear that, they may not want to ask for the help that they need. That is there for them. That's our focus here.
But President Biden is fond of saying, show me your budget and I will tell you what you value. If he's got money for people in Lebanon right now, without Congress having to come back, what does it say about his values? There's not enough money right now for people in North Carolina who need it. That's not misinformation.
Wait, no, that is your whole premise of the question is misinformation, sir. What you do? Yes, it's misinformation.
Is there money to send to Lebanon right now?
I just mentioned to you that we provided more than $200 million to folks who are impacted in the area, and I just shared with you that people are deciding not to. People are deciding not to.
Wait. To Congress that there's not enough money to help people.
We're
in North
talking
Carolina
about the SBA disaster loan.
That's
yes.
money for people in North Carolina,
and that's important. And people in North Carolina need that. Wait, this is nothing new. Peter, this is nothing new. Congress comes together, they provide money, millions of dollars, for disaster relief. We're asking them to do the job that they have been doing for some time.
From a letter that President Biden sent to Johnson, McConnell, Schumer, and Jeffries. The president's letter is not misinformation. Would you agree?
No, the way you're asking me the question is misinformation. There is money that we are allocating to the impacted areas, and there's money there to help people who truly need it. There are survivors who need the funding, and it's there.
That you don't like misinformation.
I actually said we have the money available to help survivors of Hurricane Helene and also Hurricane Milton. Now there's going to be a shortfall, right? Because we don't know how bad Hurricane Milton is going to be. And so we're going to need additional funding. That's
exactly what I just asked about. And you said it was misinformation. Yes.
What you're asking me is why Congress needs to come back and do their job. That's what you're asking me. Congress needs to come back and do their job and provide extra assistance, extra funding to disaster relief fund. That's what Congress needs to do, and we're going to continue to urge that. You may not want that, but that's okay. Man. That's what this president wants, and that's what the vice president wants.
Look at that. Look at the cuffs on the suit. Look at that thing. Oh my gosh, it's hysterical. I don't know what it is. I don't know if is this Halloween? Is it a Halloween thing? Is it a Halloween costume? She reminds me of the monster from the Mario movie with the huge shoulders and like that tiny little head up there, like huge shoulders. I don't know. Is it a joke? Is she joking with us? Is she mocking us? What is that? I don't really know, but I was laughing my butt off. I couldn't believe it was actually a real thing. So that's her suit. Looks like she borrowed the jacket from the biggest Secret Service dude in the whole friggin' White House. Dude's like 450 pounds, protecting the president. She's like, can I borrow that jacket? It looked great on me. He's like, okay. Gives her a giant jacket. Anyways, you know what it is? I think the story, she got promoted. She literally got a promotion. She's now Joe Biden's senior advisor. So she had to wear a suit. That's what it is. It's not a joke, man. No, I'm serious. October 7th, promoted to senior advisor at the White House. Congrats. Historic day. ABC News has learned. Jeff Zients, the president's chief of staff, says Karine has been a trusted advisor to the president and all of us here at the White House since day one. Her counsel will be critical to get as much done as possible for the American people in the coming months. Is Karine the president of our country? Karine made history in 2022 when she was the first black woman lesbian to make the role. I think she might be seated at the Oval Office today. Jill and I have known and respected Karine a long time. She will be a strong voice, speaking for me and this administration. She's running the country. Oh, great. Well, that's not good for us because she's a liar, just like the rest of them. And here is one excerpt of her when she said that they were not donating or giving money to illegals. That money is not being used for non-citizen purposes. Turns out she was full of nonsense.
It's just categorically full. No, Biden did not take FEMA relief money to use on migrants. So FEMA regional administrators have been meeting with city officials on site to coordinate available federal support from FEMA and other federal agencies. Funding is also available through FEMA's emergency food and shelter program to eligible local governments and non-for-profit organizations upon request to support humanitarian relief for migrants. It's just
oh no. Support humanitarian relief for migrants using FEMA money for their open border. Meanwhile, American citizens are left with scraps. All right, so let's turn our attention to Kamala now. Here was an interesting one. Short little obvious update on this one. From Kamala. Kamala Harris exploiting Jack Smith's 165-page disgusting dossier, fully intending to rig the election, now colluding with Kamala. Kamala released this advertisement, we'll let it play here, showing the actual excerpts from Jack Smith's report. This is from Kamala's YouTube page on YouTube. Look, literally quoting Jack Smith. Jack Smith's evidence against Trump is pretty damning, says former prosecutor. Playing this, taking excerpts from the report. The report is in the background. Pressuring officials, says Kamala. Spreading lies, encouraging the mob, blah, blah, blah. He wrote it for her campaign. Chutkan delivered it for her campaign. And guess what? It's paid for by Harris for president. And Harris runs the Department of Justice with Joe Biden. She's the vice president of this country. And Jack Smith is not an independent counsel. He's a special counsel, an illegitimate counsel, someone who has been thrown out of court for being illegally appointed. Never was appointed at all. Just took kind of a fake oath that people have questions about and then is now prosecuting Trump. Okay. Now writing a report that Chutkan published for all of America to see so Kamala can exploit it. It's collusion. This is government colluding with itself. It's Kamala's own entities writing a report that then Kamala can exploit. It's Banana Republic nonsense. And guess who's even calling it out? Elie Honig. You know him. I've got a clip of his. He was having a conversation on with CNN about this and called him out. Wrote a whole post about it, calling it a cheap shot, saying that Jack Smith's big fat dossier is a cheap shot. And I'll share a little bit of this with you. But he says that Jack Smith has failed to try to prosecute Trump before 2024. That was his entire quest. That's not justice in America. That's lunacy. So instead, he bent ordinary procedure to get one last shot. He dropped a 165-page doorstop of a really quite boring filing that we read through here. And then suddenly, Judge Tanya Chutkan, who suddenly claims not to care about the impending election, despite racing to get this case to trial before the election, now then published this and redacted the obvious names, like nobody could tell who it was. Arizona governor, give me a break. Now, Elie says that there are two headlines here. The immediate takeaway is that this is an oversized brief. He got permission to file 180 pages. It was 4 times the normal size. And there's new details about Trump. Not really. But the larger, if less obvious headline is that Smith has abandoned any pretense. He'll bend any rule. He'll switch up on any practice so long as he gets to chip away at Trump. At this point, there's simply no defending Smith's conduct on any sort of principled or institutional basis. And this guy's a former federal prosecutor. But we need to know this stuff before we vote is a nice bumper sticker, but it's neither a response nor an excuse for Smith's unprincipled norm-breaking practice. And the Justice Department waited over 2.5 years to indict him in the first place. Saying, first of all, this is backward, and he's going to explain this to us here in a second because I have a nice clip from him. But here is Elie himself explaining this over on with cable news.
A newly unsealed filing from special counsel Jack Smith is putting Donald Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election back in the spotlight. The 165-page filing lays out the bulk of evidence in the government's case against the former president. But our next guest, CNN legal analyst Elie Honig, is calling the move, quote, a cheap shot in a new piece, accusing Smith of, quote, bending ordinary procedure in this new filing. And Elie Honig is joining us now. Of course, he's also a former U.S. assistant attorney for the Southern District of New York. Elie, great to have you here. I want you to talk more about your criticism because it seems to be really centered around the timing of this move. Of course, we're just 1 month out from the election.
Yeah, Jessica. So my criticism here is that what Jack Smith and the judge did is they reversed the ordinary process. The way it works under the rules of procedure, I handled thousands of cases every time, is the defendant, in this case, Donald Trump, files his motion first, and then the prosecution responds depending on whatever that motion is. What Jack Smith did is he said to Judge Chutkan, well, I need to go first here, and I need to file a 4 times over-length brief. Judge Chutkan actually acknowledged that Jack Smith's request is, quote, procedurally irregular, and then she let him do it anyway. And because of that flipping the ordinary procedure on its head, that's what enabled Jack Smith to put this brief in October, shortly before the election. So I think there's a big problem with that. I think it runs counter certainly to the spirit, and I believe to the letter of DOJ policy, that you try to avoid doing anything that could impact an election too close to an election.
Yeah, at least
and you've even
days,
compared this
right
to James Comey reopening the email investigation into Secretary of State Hillary Clinton just days before the 2016 election. Clinton's actually responded to that idea, and I want to listen to what she had to say.
Hillary.
I think the situation is completely different, and this is in the context of an ongoing criminal procedure that the special counsel has brought against Donald Trump many, many months before the run-up to the election. It was, frankly, motivated by the orders of the judge in this trial, who has, it appears to me, been extremely favorable toward Trump. So I think that there's nothing out of the ordinary.
What do you think about that, Elie?
Yeah, Jessica, well, all respect to Secretary Clinton. She's the one who suffered the consequences for James Comey's, I believe, outrageous conduct in 2016. DOJ found later that it was outrageous. The problem, though, with Secretary Clinton's analysis of the Jack Smith case is, respectfully, she's got her facts wrong. First of all, she's confusing the judges here. I think she's thinking of Judge Cannon, who, yes, has ruled almost entirely for Donald Trump, but that's the judge in the other case. The judge here is Judge Chutkan. I get it, similar names.
Not really similar names. And Cannon did not rule over and over and over for Trump in the Florida case. In fact, she denied many of his requests to dismiss the case for all of the other problems in that matter, like selective and vindictive prosecution. There's statutory problems. There's immunity issues, many different issues. Finally, she dismissed it based on his illegal appointment. But those other matters, she ruled against him on those and gave his case a much more fair shake than he's seen anywhere else.
Judge Chutkan has ruled almost entirely against Donald Trump. More to the point, the last thing we just heard Secretary Clinton say was, quote, there is nothing out of the ordinary. But as I described before, the way they flipped this procedure is the opposite of the ordinary. They reversed the actual way that motions are done. You can talk to 100 former federal prosecutors who've collectively handled 100,000 cases. They will all tell you they never filed their motions first. And I think it begs the question, what was the rush here? Why did Jack Smith have to ask for this, to quote Judge Chutkan, procedurally irregular approach? So I respectfully disagree.
Election. That's why they did it, because they're colluding with each other. They're working together hand in hand to try to stop Trump, and they're exploiting the justice system to do it. Now, the Supreme Court is back in session. And NBC News is wondering if the Supreme Court's going to have to come out and settle this again. Could you imagine a Bush versus Gore situation with Trump and Kamala. Oh, gosh, that'd be bad. But the Supreme Court started a new term, and there may be some cases on the docket. It's a 6-3 majority. People are having flashbacks to Bush versus Gore in 2000. Someone says, Nate Perisley says, there's going to be something. I don't think that they're going to hear a case before the election, but there will be attempts to draw them in. Officially started a new term on Monday. All 9 justices appeared in the courtroom. It was the first time the justices had been seen in public together since the previous term ended, including Trump's immunity ruling. The court also issued a long list of cases it declined to hear this time, including an abortion-related dispute between Texas and Biden, declined an appeal brought by Elon Musk. He was suing or he was going against Jack Smith for seizing their data via their warrants, was a unlawful exploitation of their data. That followed action on Friday. They announced 13 new cases they'll be deciding in the coming months, including a bid by gun companies to throw out a lawsuit brought by Mexico to hold them accountable for violence there. I think that came up in our members-only morning stream today from Nellie. Election law experts say it was too early to say whether any potential case could make its way to the Supreme Court. Of course, we're going to keep our eye on it. Lawsuits are already circulating. We've covered several of them here. In Pennsylvania, there's ongoing fights about whether mail-in ballots can be counted if voters did not include the correct dates, for example. In Georgia, there's another one over purging voters from the rolls. Stakes are huge in court, and of course, that's what we're covering here. So we'll keep our eye on it, see what makes its way through. All right, and then, my friends, we've got one final YouTube update, and this is another interesting one from the Judiciary Committee. Jim Jordan is not happy with YouTube and how they're going after a conversation with an FBI agent called Marcus Allen. We've heard about his story here. He's a whistleblower who's facing retaliation from the government. And he was here on, his story was on this show and this channel, courtesy of our friends at Empower Oversight. Jason Foster and Tristan Levitt, you remember them, are bringing this back to our attention, saying that YouTube is blocking this guy after he told his story about what the FBI did to him and after he prayed the rosary. And so let's see what Jim Jordan said to Congress. But this is what it sounded like when Marcus Allen was having this conversation with his fellow Catholics. You can see they started the segment and the interview, and here's what it sounded like. FBI whistleblower.
Charity?
Yeah.
Explain how some of the hammer went down, yeah.
Yeah, so there's actually, for Bureau employees, like, there are actually rules around receiving gifts. And it kind of, in a way, for security purposes, it makes sense. In my case, it obviously was over the top and ridiculous. The point of that is, like, you don't want executives or people with security clearances going to these foreign delegations and they're getting offered gifts. It's like,
right.
Why are you really getting offered a gift?
You wouldn't want the son of the current president going to whatever, Ukraine, and getting payments, right? That you would never want that kind of deal. Keep going on.
Correct. So
yeah, because it might be something that could be exploited for their gain. So he showed up. He did that conversation with Catholics for Catholics. Shout out to our Catholic friends out there. And what you'll notice is they nuked that interview. And so Jim Jordan sent a letter to them. It's from the Committee on the Judiciary to Sundar Pichai, CEO of Alphabet that runs and owns YouTube, saying, all right, dear Mr. Google, the Judiciary Committee is now investigating and overseeing how and to what extent the executive branch has coerced or colluded with companies like yours to censor lawful speech. Now, as part of this oversight, the committee has obtained documents showing that the federal government has successfully pressured YouTube, a subsidiary of Alphabet, to censor certain content, including content that didn't even violate YouTube's content policies. Now, YouTube appears to have censored a video where FBI whistleblower Marcus Allen, a witness who came before the Congressional subcommittee, where he detailed serious misconduct at the FBI. And he expressed his deeply held religious beliefs, prayed the rosary. Now, this censorship of religious and political speech is deeply troubling in light of YouTube's previous collusion with Biden and their pattern of anti-conservative political bias. And so we write to seek a briefing on YouTube's decision to censor the video featuring Marcus Allen and to request communications between YouTube and Biden and Harris relating to this censorship. Ooh, and I hope they get it. They tell us that on September 29th, just days after testifying, Marcus Allen, a former Marine and staff operations specialist who faced retaliation from our own FBI, sat for an interview and prayed the rosary with Catholics for Catholics, a nonprofit, and posted the video on YouTube. And during that interview, Mr. Allen shared how the FBI targeted him for his political and religious beliefs and how the FBI's retaliation affected him and his family and how he relied on his faith during the ordeal. But almost immediately, YouTube censored his story and his religious expression. At every juncture, the Biden-Harris administration has sought to silence Mr. Allen. They wrongfully suspended him without pay due to his personal medical decisions, his religious beliefs, his questioning the FBI leadership. In fact, they went so far as to baselessly question his allegiance to the United States. Dude's a Marine, despite his many years of exemplary service to our country. Now, at the September 25th hearing before the Select Subcommittee, Inspector General Michael Horowitz said that the details of Mr. Allen's case illustrate the many of the concerns and the systemic issues that we've seen with the security clearance process. In following efforts by the committee and the subcommittee to investigate the FBI's retaliation against these brave whistleblowers like Mr. Allen, the FBI reinstated him and did award him back pay. Hopefully, he got it. Now, as part of our oversight, Google, the committee have investigated the FBI's treatment of whistleblowers and its collusion with big tech to censor American speech online. And given the past misconduct of the FBI and YouTube, YouTube's censorship of an FBI whistleblower story and religious speech is particularly troubling. And so therefore, we request a briefing about YouTube's decision to censor Mr. Allen. And for the briefing, we ask that Alphabet be prepared to answer the following questions. And man, we've had several videos censored here. We had the whole channel demonetized after J6 for being harmful and dangerous. For 9 months, they demonetized us. I would have loved to have had this list of questions ready to go, you know? All right, listen, YouTube punks. Question 1 for you. Why was the September 29th video featuring Marcus Allen's interview and the praying of the rosary removed from YouTube? And it usually will tell you that in the studio, but they usually don't give you really good reasons or clear answers. Was this removal done by automated systems or was it carried out manually? Yeah, feels good to ask that question. Does YouTube intend to reinstate the video? Why or why not? Answer, no. What protections does YouTube provide for free speech that is explicitly religious or political? Well, it's all protected unless you're a white male or a Christian. Why do those protections not apply here? Answer, Christian. Not male, though. Don't know his gender, don't want to presume. Which teams or divisions, the other guy was a white male. See, that's why. Which teams or divisions within the YouTube are responsible for determining whether the video violates the company's content moderation standards? What communications did YouTube have with the Biden-Harris administration before or after the video featuring Mr. Allen? And number 7, how dare you? Right? Something that I would feel good to also, ask that question after our multiple strikes. I think we've gotten like 3 or 4 of them. 2 of them, I think 1 was reversed, 1 we appealed and 1, and then 2 stuck for sure. And they were factually true, absolutely factually true. But I think 1 was COVID related. I think 1 was J6 related. But yeah, we have little cretins over there at the White House just monitoring our stuff. Yeah, I'm talking about you, punks. Yeah. Our YouTube censor is getting ornery over there. I can see him standing up and squirreling in his chair. Yeah, we're talking about you this whole segment. Don't move. All right, so I'm really treading the line right now with all of this talk, but whatever. Well, I think we'll be all right. In addition, we remind you that the committee's February 15th subpoena to Alphabet is continuing in nature. So we've already sent you a demand for this. And it requires the ongoing production of material about your engagement with the executive branch. So if you're colluding with Biden and Harris, we want to know. In light of the censorship of Mr. Allen, we also request that you prioritize producing the following documents. All documents between Google and the executive branch about moderation, deletion, suppression, restriction, demonetization, reduced circulation, or anything about Marcus Allen. And so please let us know. We want a briefing by October 21st. We've got the right to investigate this according to government rules. Let us know what you've got for us. Sincerely, your friend, Jim Jordan, chairman of the Judiciary Committee. So that's happening right now. And the Catholic community, Catholics for Catholics, were confirming that it got deleted. But if you want to go check it out, the full video is over there on their platform. But the battle continues. It's a battle for information. It's a battle for access. It's a battle for impressions. They want our side to have less contact, less views. Every time a video gets deleted or suppressed, think of that as like, I don't know, if that video got deleted and let's say it would have gotten 10,000 views, which is like a stadium of people, by the way, then think about if you just went around and took 10,000 yard signs out of the grounds, out of people's houses, right? That's like consequential. Those are just yard signs. Now it's a whole video. Now it's take people staring at yard signs for 60 minutes and learning something and taking action out. Take that away from them. Just delete it. Thousands, right? It's really, really pernicious. Then on the opposite side of that, so they're not only tapering down and turning off the spigot of access, but they're also then bombarding their people and our people with propaganda and info warfare. You see college Republicans at ASU, they posted this saying that 150,000 students from all Arizona universities, including ASU and U of A, it's my hometown, backyard. U of A is not my hometown, but it's down in Tucson. I got family there. Have received a text from Kamala Harris campaign telling the students to go and vote for her. If Kamala Harris, shout out to our friends in Tucson. What's up, Aunt Linda? I love you. If Kamala Harris has access to all of Arizona college students' phone numbers, what else do they have? And here, look at this. Hi, Wildcats. It's Kamala Harris. It's U of A people. I wanted to remind you that the deadline to register is today, Monday. Thanks to the record turnout among college students in 2020, I am Vice President of the United States today. Thanks to you people. Tim Walz and I are the underdogs. You're the sitting vice president, you weird psycho. But student voters could make the difference. We need your support to win. As a University of Arizona student, go register to vote. Kamala Harris, your vote is your voice and your power. You must not let anybody take your power from you. Okay. She tries to censor people and she doesn't want people voting for like Trump, like their party tried to throw Trump off the ballot, which would have eliminated their ability to vote for him, like literally taking away your vote, taking away your candidate so that you do not have a vote. All right, then they sent this one. Hey, Sun Devils! Copy and pasted the same thing, which is insulting. Every single Sun Devil should be offended that they just copy and pasted the same message that they gave to the Wildcats. And every single person at U of A should be offended as well. And everybody should vote for Trump accordingly. They don't care for you. They copy and pasted the same message. They treat you like garbage. They couldn't even honor you with a unique message to both. So both sides should just vote Trump just to spite them back. Did they send the same thing to NAU? They did. They copy and pasted it. They're copy and pasters. They're not creative. They can't think. Couldn't even send a unique message to NAU. Same. So NAU, they're definitely going to vote for Kamala up there, but they should vote for Trump. But they'll definitely vote for Kamala because that's just who they are. Now, this is Hillary. They're very upset that people have the ability to have conversations that are outside of what they would like you to be talking about, and they want total control. Here is Hillary explaining.
But if the platforms, whether it's Facebook or Twitter X or Instagram or TikTok, whatever they are, if they don't moderate and monitor the content, we lose total control. And it's not just the social and psychological effects, it's real harm. That if
get out of here. Harm to your never-ending grip on power. Yeah, that's what's going to be harmed. Your institution that endeavors to protect Democrats no matter what is going to come crumbling down. We're very excited about that. So you can almost hear the panic in their voice, huh? Almost like they're a little bit nervous that the people are getting a little bit too talky. They're getting a little bit too free speechy. They have a little bit too much that we know that might come out about them. And one person who has some suspicions on what that might be is Elon Musk, talking with Tucker about what might happen after Trump wins when these Epstein files come out.
Will that ever come out, do you think?
You know, I think part of why Kamala's getting so much support is that if Trump wins, that Epstein client list is going to become public.
Yes.
And some of those billionaires behind Kamala are terrified of that outcome.
Yeah. Do you think Reid Hoffman's uncomfortable?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Gates.
And Gates.
Yeah.
And I only ask that because you just look at them and you're like, that's a nervous person right there. I don't know. I mean, I assume you know them. Yeah.
Yes. Reid Hoffman was my vice president of business development at PayPal.
Yeah.
24 years ago.
Does he seem nervous to you?
Yeah, I mean, he's terrified of a Trump victory.
Okay.
Because of the disclosure that would follow?
I think, yeah, I mean, I think he's certainly ideologically not aligned with Trump anyway, but I think he is concerned about the Epstein situation.
Wow. Okay. So I'm watching that, waiting for Reid Hoffman to just come back out and say he's filing a defamation claim or something like that. But Elon's walking a very close line there, saying he's concerned about some of the revelations. And then at the end there, he says, yeah, he's concerned about the Epstein situation. And we'll see what Reid Hoffman does, because if Reid Hoffman gets a little bit agitated over that and sues him or something like that, well, then we're all going to start talking about it. And so maybe the best defense is to say nothing. And Elon sounds like he knows something that he's excited about discussing and releasing. And I'm really happy that he's hanging out with Trump now, so that when he's in the government, increasing government efficiency, he can have Trump's ear and get those Epstein files dropped, because the only person who's been prosecuted on that is Ghislaine Maxwell. Not all of the many, many different disgusting elite who were exploiting that for years and who are now still roaming free. Elon and Trump released those files. We're looking forward to it. All right. And so, my friends, it has been a heck of a stream. We covered some good ground today. A little shorter show. The dockets were light, but we covered some good stuff. If you're just joining us, we talked about North Carolina, and we gave a full update on what the board just passed, which is this new set of rules for early voting, absentee voting, a bunch of stuff changing in North Carolina. We went through all of the changes and discussed how they might implicate or impact the election. We also talked about Jack Smith's cheap shot and how even government prosecutors, ex-government prosecutors, are calling this whole thing rigged. And then, of course, we talked about YouTube and the latest letter over to the CEO of Alphabet, demanding to know more about the censorship that I'm sure you've felt, you've experienced, you've seen other people you follow. If you follow us, you've seen us get hit with it, but others have as well. And it's election season, and so it's back in full swing. But now, my friends, it's time to hear from you. It's a beautiful day. And of course, we're very glad that you're here. Before we jump into your comments and your questions, I want to remind everybody that this year it is time for our annual event at EricsHouse. And so for those of you who are not familiar, we do this every year. We've been doing this for the last however many years. But I am a part of a nonprofit organization called EricsHouse.org. And it is an organization that helps people who've lost a loved one due to suicide, tragic death, or overdose. And this weekend is our annual fundraiser. Your boy is going to be emceeing it. And so I'll be hosting it this weekend. We would love it if you could help us raise some funds for this organization. And so I have my own profile created here. And look at this. We have one supporter who's donated to your boy's profile. 1776, baby. Look who's kicking things off. John McGarvey in the house says the journey of a lifetime begins with a single step. That's beautiful, John. You're right about that. And you know, it's a very nice comment. Because for people who've lost somebody, as our family has, those of you who know my story know about my brother, Eric, who's no longer with us. Rest in peace, bro. But he is living on through the work at EricsHouse. They do counseling, group sessions, all sorts of cool stuff. So we'd love it. If you want to come over here and create your own profile, I think you can. You can just sign up to join and raise some money. If you'd like to donate to my mama, under her profile, everything goes to EricsHouse. But if you'd like to donate, we'd love to have you do that because it's really good work. It's a 501c3. It's a nonprofit, and all the money is going to good stuff. So check it out. Links are in the description below. I've got it pinned over on the chat. And so we're going to be hitting that hard because this weekend is the big one, right? We're trying to raise 50 grand for the organization so that they can stay in function and continue to help people. And so you'll be hearing a lot of that from me this week. But thank you for it. And it's just 1 week, and then we'll be back to business as normal. All right. So my friends, thank you so much for being here. Let's see who joined us over on the YouTubes. Oh my goodness. We have so many nice comments in the house. Look at this. Sheila Poo, a million hugs to you. Starting us off on the day. Sheila Poo bringing in 5 new membos. Check it out. We got Joe V is in the house. What's up, Joe V? We got Redeemed Sauce. Mike Davis is here. We got Cuckoo's Cam and Anti-Plode gifted membos, courtesy of Sheila Poo. A million hugs to you. Thank you, Sheila, for bringing in the newest of membos. And it's a beautiful Monday, my friends. We got this one from Sheila. Says, smash that like button and share this channel, baby. Thank you, Sheila. And don't forget to do that, my friends. That's great advice from Sheila. Hey, Cougar Tracks. What's up, Cougar Tracks? Says, thank you, Rob. 4 stars. Out of 5? Is it out of 5? It's out of 5, isn't it? Chubby says, no one ever expects the beard. The beard got me, man. I lost it. I lost it on the beard. I totally lost it. I'm like, where am I? Where'd that beard come from? I was totally discombobulated. Hey, James Grant says, the Arizona thing was true. I received one from her U of A student. Wow. James Grant. Yeah, that's interesting. So anyone else get that? U of A student down there. James got blown up with Kamala. What are you supposed to do about that? Like change your number or something? I don't know. Thank you, James. Thanks for the nice dono. And hopefully school's going great, my man. Thanks for watching the show. Sheila says, this gives them the ability to move poll workers from blue cities into the red rural areas. Not good. Yeah, that's kind of what we're thinking, right? It's commingling. It's cross-pollinating. So a bunch of stuff can shift around, Sheila. Raises my eyebrows for sure. Thank you, Sheila, for that. Hey, B. Torn says, never underestimate the will of a person in Appalachia. There's 28 days to figure voting out. Paper ballots would solve everything. Well, I think they still have to transport them. I think that's part of the problem. Is like, how do they transport them from various from location to location, and make sure that they arrive there on time. Hey, we got some other donos that came in over at EricsHouse. Man, this is great. Check this out. Hey, Rick D. Is that you, Rick D? And okay, so we can like these things. Check this out. So Rick D just sent in one. Rick D sent this one. $25 for Rob from James Richard Donor. James Richard Donor in the house. I think that's Rick D. I think we know who that is. And Libra Law. Ooh, Libra Law just gave some to Madison. All right, so where are we at? All right, let's see where I'm at. Is my mom still beating me? All right, we're just getting this started. Oh, great. I'm in 3rd place. Oh, Madison's beating me too. Oh, it's great. All right, so B. Torn is here. Thank you for that. You still got to get him transported in. Still got to get him transported in, So we got to do that. What's up? Rick D says, and how many, I think that's Rick. Rick, thanks for the dono. Says, and how many board offices are left in those counties? And how many board offices? Yeah, it's good. Well, that's a good question. Yeah, are they functional, operational? I'm sure a lot of the resource, like a lot of this will be helpful and useful. I'm just asking around the margins, where will the exploitation be? Knox is here. says, happy Monday, all. Karine had to borrow some man's jacket. She probably spilt some adrenochrome on her blouse. Yeah, after she extracted it from all the 300,000 missing illegal kids. Yeah. And then injected it. And, oh, no, I got adrenochrome all over the place. Can I get that? Does anybody here have a jacket? The giant freak, like 6'7'2" guy who plays in the NBA? Yeah, that'll work. Weirdest jacket ever. And then she got a promotion. Now she works for Joe. He's like, I love that jacket. There's just something about her. Let's make her my senior advisor. I just love the presence. I love her presence around me. Weird White House. Hey, E. Texley. What's up, E. Texley? Says North Carolina uses Real ID. The DMV can send out mobile units to issue new official IDs and driver's licenses. ID can be verified using Real ID database. It should not be difficult. Yeah, I think part of the question is do they have ID? And we read through another provision of the law and an interpretation and implementation of that provision of the law that said that they could just fill out an affidavit, essentially, so that they didn't actually have to have ID for certain absentee ballots that were impacted by a hurricane. And we read it here. It's on camera. We recorded it. Knox is here. Good to see you, Knox. Sheila says, Karine lies. The money is available. But what she isn't saying is that they aren't putting that money into the hands of the people impacted. I see. So she's just playing semantics a little bit. Oh, no. There's plenty of money available. It's just sitting locked in a vault, never to be seen by anybody who ultimately needs it. That's nice. That's nice. Hey, Scottish gal. What's up, Ginger D? Scottish gal in the house. 2025 dono. What a nice dono. Making 2025 better for those in need. You absolutely are, Ginger. Thanks for sending that in. You're amazing. I should log in here so that my name shows up on these. Let's see. Can I do that easily here? Come on, just do it. Just do it. We're live. Send a code. We're live. I don't have time for the codes and all that stuff. All right, so let's see what else is cooking in the house. Thank you, Sheila, for that one. We've got former LEO says she wants to be on top. She wants to be on top. I don't know what that means. Spud says Peter Doocy is just asking misquestions. It's a question that begs misinformation. So therefore it's called a misquestion. I like it. Philip Coggins says, hey, what is in the suit that's 5 sizes too big? What? I don't know. I don't know what's with it. I don't know. Also, spot on with the Koopas from the Mario movie. It's more failing upwards. It's the Koopas, right? It was the Koopas. The big suits with the little head, the big shoulders with the little head. Remember? It was exactly. Thank you, Philip, for the nice dono. Mizzy M says, Lord help us. I know. Well, the good news is she's now a senior advisor. So does that mean we'll hear less from her or not? I don't know. Hey, Patriot Rob says, I want to know why nobody's talking about the fact that she has to certify the election. Thus, that's why she hasn't invoked the 25th Amendment and became president, because then Mike Johnson would certify it. Is that right? Yeah, I thought it would be like if she let's say she invokes the 25th, Joe goes away, we'd get a new vice president, right? So she would nominate somebody, and then I think the Senate confirms them. So then that new person would be the acting vice president, or the vice president confirmed by the Senate, who would then act as the president of the Senate. Like, why would it go to the House? I think what you might be talking about is a contingent election when the House decides the election. Is that perhaps? Yeah, it gets complicated when we're in there, but I don't think they'll 25th Joe. It's too late. They'll just let him on. They'll just let him linger on. What's going on? We got some other donos coming in. You guys are awesome. Hey, Cindy DeTore says, Rob, it's pronounced Rowley. 12 red counties in Rowley, North Carolina. All right. Thanks for that one. I'll botch it next time. Sorry to our friends in Raleigh. Hey, Sheila. What's up, Sheila? Good to see you, Sheila. 5 more membos coming in courtesy of Sheila. Third proverb is here. Spacey 11. Mike Holmes is coming in the house. Calypso and Collector's Digest. Gifted membos courtesy of Sheila Poo in the house. And CGI Joe. We've got a new baby. Look. Hey, thanks for all you do, Dad. Thank you, CGI Joe. Oh, that's so nice. A new baby, my friends. Welcome aboard. Oh, he's so cute. He's going to be a soccer player. Thanks for being a member for 9 months. CGI Joe. We had a baby. Good to see you. Hey, here's one from Viva Maga. Oh, yeah, this is a pretty good one. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's Colin Farrell. I watched the first episode of that, I think. Yeah, I did. Yeah, there's only one of those. That's the same one, I think, right? Same film? Anyway, there's same TV show, something. That's funny. Yeah, it looks exactly, that's exactly what it was. She's like in the Joker mood. She just saw the Joker and Lady Gaga, and there was some sort of scene there involving multiple people, and, you know, anyways, gross. Anyways, what's up? The RP Games says Jack Smith should be prosecuted. The brief is criminal from the RP Games. Yeah, it's collusion. It's election interference. It's him and Chutkin working together against norms, even in the DOJ, according to the DOJ manual, and against DOJ policy, right? Against election deadlines and things like that. Thank you for that, the RP Games. 13 months as a member. You're amazing. Hey, Rick D. Here. Oh, yeah, here you go. Here you go. Enjoy. See what I did there? Here's hope and joy. More hope and joy. But there's billions for illegal immigrants and foreigners right behind her. From Branko. Yeah, that's what's happening. One old guy's opinions. Says, we got Jack Smith, we got Clinton, we got Chutkin, we got Judy Garland, we got cackling Kamala, all suffering from dementia contracted at a Diddy party. It's possible. That could be true. Hey, what's up? Chris won. Chris Solitary won. Says, wow, new baby in the house. Loving the show. Thank you, Chris. Thanks for being here. We do. We got another new baby. Look at that one. We had a baby. 9 months. That's a long time. Full term. We've seen some serious stuff here. Kid's going to be amazing. Thank you, Chris, for being an amazing membo for 9 months. Hey, what's up here? B.H. Williams says, have you heard about this movie coming out called Conclave? It's about the selection of a pope. Ben Shapiro did a review of it. He said it really sucks and doesn't follow the book. That stinks. Yeah, I like those movies. I like those stories. Like, for example, the Dan Brown books. I'm kind of sucker for those. The Dan Brown, people running around Rome, finding ancient mysteries, ancient symbols that have history about the Knights Templar and all the stuff. Yeah, I know. I'm into it. But there's not a lot of good ones. I like the Dan Brown stuff because they're fast-paced. They're kind of, they're just kind of indulgent. What's up, Jeffrey Adams? Rob, Polymarket has Trump up 53 to 45, an 8-point swing. Chin up, baby. Hard work. Thank you. Thank you for that, Jeffrey Adams. We're going to win, my friends. That's what we're saying. We're on the up. We're on the up. The Kamala thing was just a big climactic event for them. It wasn't even interesting. And it's all coming back down. She's terrible. Everybody can see it. So I think we're going to win. We got to keep our engines revved up. We got just not that much time left on the clock, baby. Home stretch. Let's go. What's up? Knox says, I'm a former Wildcat from Tucson, Arizona. This does not surprise me. One of my law school recommenders, Professor Vology, former Tucson mayor, was a consultant for Hillary. Yeah, law schools are very liberal in general. I think all of them, like by default. And then academia in general is liberal, but then law schools like, oh, whoa. Because, lawyers and professors think that they're so sophisticated and much smarter than everybody else. I went to law school. I'm a lawyer. So I know things that you don't know. And my logic's better than you. And all that stuff. It's really grotesque, which is why I'm happy that I'm not in that industry in the same way. In many ways, I'm happy I'm not in it anymore. Because there's a lot of that. And it's not the criminal defense community at all, right? Criminal defense attorneys are awesome. It's everybody else. Ugh. In the government sector predominantly. But you get it. You get the picture. Anyways, yeah, Knox, doesn't surprise me. Very liberal. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Defense attorney in Texas. Hey, 27 months as a membo. That's 3 babies. Pretty sure about the math on that. 1 baby, 2 babies, 3 babies in the house. Not 4, almost though. Curtis Bartle. Happy birthday to me. Always a great show, Rob. Thanks for that. Curtis B, man, what a great comment. Happy birthday, 27 months. This old guy says, it's telling that Hillary said we lose total control. Holy crap, she's a communist. Yeah. They're nervous. They do not like that Elon has given us an alternative and an ability to speak out. It really wrecks their plans. Thank you for that. This old guy in the house. We got John Libby says, hey, Rob, I've noticed that the leaf blower guy is gone, and now the shop vac guy is gone. But don't worry, the snowblower man will be here soon. That's for John Libby. You're going to have the snowblower man in your town? We don't have any snow. This is Arizona, man, so we're not going to have any snowblowers here. Leaf blower guy comes at Friday at 9 a.m. rather. He was here, I think, a little early last Friday. But he's still here. The shop vac guy is gone. Our leak is now fixed. We're back in the studio, so the leak is now repaired. And we're back in the regular spot. But yeah, you never know who's going to be here or what kind of listening devices they're going to plant. Hey, Knox says, University of Arizona administration has always been notoriously for sale. Interesting, Knox. Yeah, I wasn't aware. I'm not familiar as much with U of A as I am as ASU, but the fact that all 3 of them got nuked makes me think it's somebody higher up, like state education or something. Like, where'd that data come from? Good to see you. Rick D said donation sent. Yes, man. Hey, Rick says yes. Yes, James Richard Donor is me. Rick D in the house. Good to see you, Rick. Thanks for the dono on EricsHouse. Nelson Big says, reminder, they are not leaders. They are representatives of we the people. It's up to us as Americans to step up, folks. Do your part. Yeah, we can, I think, have a lot more agency and impact in our own lives than Washington, right? We ultimately, I think currently the dynamic is that Washington has too much power and is too centralized. But as Washington fails, we see them fail. They fail at the border. They fail with foreign wars. They fail with recovery. They fail with CDC. People will start to, I think, decentralize a little bit. And we'll have more power returned to us and away from them. I'm excited about it. What's up, Rick D? Good to see you, Rick D. And sent in a dono. Sheila Poo, bringing in 5 more membos. Sheila, that's a bunch today. Thanks for them. We've got Alan Pigwell is here. Mwa Dweeb, Michelle C., Kim Ledger, and Chris Culpin, gifted membos, courtesy of Sheila Poo. A million hugs to you, Sheila. Thanks for bringing them in. We got B.H. Williams says, it's true that North Carolina has mobile ID issuing trucks. I heard the same muckety muck talking about it on the radio. He set it up so that it goes to prisons once a month to make sure that prisoners being released are released with ID. That's interesting. Thanks, BH. We got Aaron Edwards says, Asheville is deep blue, but everywhere around it is red. I wonder how that is going to affect the state. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, hopefully everybody votes exactly like they did or more in 2020 and Trump wins. That'd be great. What's up? Milo Phone Bill says, a dono for your group. A dono, a nice dono, Milo Phone Bill. For EricsHouse, you're amazing, Milo. And we'll definitely be matching donos over at EricsHouse. So thanks for doing that. Everybody who's donating, we're going to be matching the donos up to a certain threshold in case somebody wants to try to clean me out over here, you know. But we're definitely matching. So thank you, Milo. We've got this one from Rick D. Says, now that Karine is a senior advisor, so now she can't say that she hasn't spoken with the president about this. That's right. It's a great point, Rick D. What are you talking about? You're a senior advisor. Weren't you in there with him this morning? Cliff Norman says, whatever happened to the Justice Department rule of no lawfare within 60 days of an election? Well, this is about Trump. Yeah, this is Trump now. So obviously anything can be done as long as it's against Trump. Normal rules don't apply. When does Justice Thomas slap Jack Smith? Time will tell on that one. And when he does, it's going to be epic. He already talked about him in, I think it was the Fisher case, right? In his concurrence in there. Or was it the immunity decision? It might have been the immunity decision on that. Thank you, Cliff. We got Cat McC. What's up, Cat McC? 2 months as a membo. Good to see you, Cat McC. Thanks for being here for 2 months. First month's the hardest. Gets easier from there. This old guy says, with that suit, if Karine shows up carrying a violin case, like there's going to be a hit going down, something like that. Cindy DeTore says, Raleigh, okay? Raleigh, like a cheer. Rah, rah, rah. You're killing me. Rob, like that? Like Rob? Raleigh. Raleigh. All right, I'll keep working on it. Thank you, Cindy. I'll keep working on it. We got this one from Bruce Rice Baby. Dun, 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 dun. Hello, watchers. Thank you, mods. With the most, and thank you, Rob, for all the red ink. We sometimes we overdo it with the red ink, I know. Love the show. Thank you, Bruce. Bruce Rice Baby. Been a membo. Dun, 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 dun. Thank you, Bruce Rice. What's up? Wells Mortensen says, hey, didn't Reid Hoffman acquire like 60,000 acres of farmland in Solano County in California to found a new utopian town with Jobs' widow? Calling themselves Flannery Associates or something? I was not aware of that. That sounds interesting. Oh, is he like building his own little island again? He's like, gosh, I really miss Epstein. We got to build something here. Can we just go buy like a lake or something? Can we please? Hey, Kitchen Mortician says, young Arizona getting the you up from Kamala. Oh, I see. Yeah. You up? Hey, you up? You want to talk to me? No, Kamala, you've wrecked our economy. We don't have any money. Our dollar's worthless. We can't buy a house and our education sucks. She's like, will you vote for me though? No. All right. Knox is here. Says Elon's PAC is hiring in these states. Yeah, baby. And check this out. If you're looking for some work, $30 an hour, Pennsylvania, Michigan, North Carolina, Wisconsin, Georgia, Nevada, Arizona, Elon's PAC is hiring and paying. So let's go. Let's go round up some votes, baby. Let's roll. Hey, Ataraxia in the house says live from Amsterdam, Trump sign lighting. Live from Amsterdam, Trump sign lighting. Vote for Trump. That's hilarious. I thought I saw they had to cover that up or something, or they're working on it. But that's a great sign. Beautiful. And everybody should do it. Former LEO says you should go back 30 years and read The Source by James Michener. Yeah, I would. If I went back 30 years, that's definitely one of the first things I would do with that magical power. Definitely. Thank you for that, Former. Those are some great comments, my friends. And oh my goodness, look, we got some donos that came in over at EricsHouse, the donation. This is awesome, man. You guys are awesome. Look at this. You guys are outstanding. Starting off here, we had Scottish gal making 2025 better for those in need. Chad Brumet. What's up, Chad? Look at this one. Kamala high five from Chad. Perfect. We'll take it, baby. Even Kamala wants to support people who've lost a loved one to suicide or tragic death or overdose. That's my bro right there. That's my brother Eric. For those of you who haven't seen my brother, that's him. We used to like to go camping a lot, go out, set up tents, all the things. It was a lot of fun. So EricsHouse, by the way, if you're not familiar, they've done over 2,000 one-on-one grief support sessions, suicide, overdose. We have over 62 peer-led groups supporting individuals, almost 4,500 sessions there. They've done 6,500 sessions since June 2019. Their goal, they've supported over 500 families, but over the next 18 months, 1,200 families is where they want to go. And so you're helping them do that right now with these donos. So thanks for that. And they really do good work, man. Like people come out healed, or they at least find a community. So this Saturday, we're also going to be live streaming this. The other thing you can do is check out the EricsHouse YouTube channel. We'll be live streaming it over there. This Saturday, noon to 3 Arizona time. So 3 to 6 for our East Coast friends. Tanya Karras in the house. Bringing in a nice dono, says prayers for all. Thank you, Tanya. Tanya Karras does our Taco Tuesdays for us. And so we'll see you tomorrow for Taco Tuesday, Tanya. Hey, Grip Van is here, and Flea Speech is here. And where did those go? Man, you guys are just amazing. So Tanya Karras is here. We've got Love from Denmark, says, thank you, Bobby G, for all you do. God bless you and your family. Love from Denmark. Thank you for the love from Denmark. Amazing. Flea Speech in the house. Anonymous. Thank you, Anonymous. We don't know who you are exactly, but we're grateful for you. Thank you, Anonymous. Very grateful. And I'm going to log in and re-like all these and say thank you in the comments afterwards. But CGI Joe, amazing CGI Joe. Thanks for this. You're an awesome brother. Well, thank you, man. Eric was a great brother to me. And, you know, a lot of families lose a sibling, and it's hard. Siblings are tough, right? Siblings are tough because often what happens with siblings is, well, there are these cluster bombs of suicides, like in families, like one suicide happens, other people are statistically more likely to die by suicide. It's kind of a thing. So any siblings out there, shout out. What's up? We've got, whoa, Viva Mega. Look at the size of this dono, baby, from Viva Mega. Says, for Eric's memory and an amazing cause, and to get Robin the lead. You rock, Viva Mega. That's going to definitely do it. 325. Love Mama G and Greg, too. They're amazing. So, and for those of you who joined us in Vegas, you got to meet them. You got to meet Mama G, and you got to meet Greg Eckerman. I was going to say Greg Eric, but that's not his name. That's my father. That's my mother. And, you know, Joey's not on here. It's a good thing Joey's not on here because he would win. He'd beat all of us. But anyways, you got to meet them. So that's who he's referencing. So thank you for that. That was really, really nice. Appreciate that from Viva Maga. Look at the size of that one. It's going to go to good people, man. It's really good. It's going to go to good people who need some help. So, and also add this to your calendar. Come join us. Come join us. So go to this link and add this to your calendar. We'll see you on Saturday. It's going to be fun. They do great work there. And hey, Just Rhonda says, I relate to all of this. God bless you and everyone else who works for this organization. I know the needs are many. Thank you for that, Just Rhonda. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's one of those things when the organization's getting busier, it's not ideal, right? But it's good. It's because that means there's more deaths, there's more loss. But the fact that people are finding hope and healing rather than sitting at home alone in their pain is a good thing. Da Hook in the house says, Rob, you're doing great work. All things are possible through God. Yeah, no doubt about that, Da Hook. And there's a lot of spiritual healing that happens here too. Man, I think people find that it's through their spirituality that they're able to heal. Might be the only way for them to heal. And so thank you for that, Da Hook. A great comment. Anonymous in the house. Anonymous, we don't know who you are, but we're grateful for you. Thanks for the love, my friend. Thanks for sending that in. Really very nice of you. And we've got M. Buffy. M. Buffy V in the house says, Rob's the best. Thank you. Thank you, M. Buffy. I think you're the best. Thanks for the dono and for being here. M. Buffy over at Eric's house with a nice one. Nancy Gates. What's up, Nancy? Made a $15 donation. I only wish it was more. That's amazing, Nancy. That's amazing. Thank you for that. Every little bit counts. Sadly, people need help and support more than ever. God bless you, Rob, and your efforts. Thank you, Nancy. Really, thanks for being a part of it. And I hope we get to see you on Saturday. It's great to see you. Hey, my mama got a dono from David D. Good work, Mom. What's up, David D? Thanks for donating over to Mama. She's pretty amazing. I'll agree with that. And Spuds made a dono in memory of Michael Moffat. So shout out to Michael Moffat, Michael Moffat's family. May Michael rest in peace. He's up there hanging out, my bro Eric, just chilling, enjoying life. And we'll be reunited again, but not yet. Marianne also got a dono from Wells Mortensen in honor of Rick D. Another one, man, from Wells Mortensen in honor of Rick D. You guys are awesome. So let's see. Did that change the numbers a little bit? Hopefully it is. Yeah, baby, we're on top. How you like me now, mama? All right, so thank you, my friends, for making that happen. You guys are awesome. That is so awesome. So I'm going to match this and more, right? So we're going to be here tomorrow and the rest of the week. Saturday is the event. So we would love it if you came and joined us. That's awesome. You guys are awesome. Thanks for sending that in. And we're going to keep going, baby, because there's a lot of hope and healing there. And so, honestly, if you're in a position, like if you need some support on this,
I think he is concerned about
Elon,
the FTC.
Elon, we're in the middle of something here. I don't know why you think you can just start talking. We're in the middle of a feed here. But if you need support in this arena, okay, if you've lost somebody due to suicide, overdose, or tragic death, there are many instances where somebody's loved one gets in an ATV accident or something and they're gone. And so it's like a bomb goes off in a family, and you do not have to be alone. There are many people who've walked this road and who can be loving and supporting to you, and they're at Eric's House. And if you need some support, reach out, ericshouse.org. They're amazing. So that's my pitch. All right. So my friends, let's see what's happening over on X before we wrap it up on the day. It's a beautiful day. Thank you so much for the Eric's House love and for the amazing support over there. It's all going to very good people. Who's on X saying what's up on X? We got, Fred Petamonte says, every single day I get more disgusted with the Democrats. They outdo themselves on a daily basis. Yeah, and Flannery Associates purchased 50,000 acres of farmland. And apparently, they're building a walkable city. Okay. Who wants to live in Reid Hoffman's giant city? Yikes. James says, Rob, should North Carolina change its name to Ukraine so they can get some help? Yeah, they should call them like North Ukraine. They don't have to change the full name, just part of it. Just call it North Ukraine. And I think that's probably good enough. They'll probably get like half the money. Hey, George, what's up? Good to see you. Thanks for coming by live. TJ King joining us. Maynard is here. Good. Yeah, Darby Shaw. Darby Shaw got another picture of Karine after she was done at the press briefing room. Here's Karine after her press briefing room. Yeah, that's what it looked like. That's the one from Beetlejuice, right? Don't think here it is. Yeah, here's another one. This is another angle from Karine, right? They kind of look the same, right? It's about right. I think that's only slightly shopped, just a little bit. But nope, that's her. All right, and so great comments over on X, my friends. Thank you for being here. Thanks for the tremendous donos and the love and the support over at Eric's House. Nicety sent one in. Nicety is here, says, thank you for everything you do for your community. Thank you, Nicety. What a great comment there. A nice dono. It's going to go to some good people who need some love and support. And so thanks for sending that one in. Okay, so my friends, you are incredible. We're going to leave it there. We're going to go over, as soon as we're done with this, we've got Wells says, hey, shout out to Spuds for reminding me that there are two Amsterdams. There's New York and the EU, with a nice history for New Holland, part of settling New England. I should reread on some long winter eve. Cheers. So did you think we were talking about Amsterdam, like vote Trump Amsterdam, like in Amsterdam, not Amsterdam, New York? I see what you're saying. IA says, don't forget medical errors is the third leading cause of death in America, and nobody wants to talk about it. Is it third? I know it's high, but I didn't realize it was third. It was like cancer, artery, heart disease, like heart disease. I think heart disease is number one, right? Heart disease, cancer, medical errors, number three. Lady Ice says, I believe the Amsterdam sign, Trump is number three, probably. Lady Ice says, I believe the Amsterdam sign has been given a citation with fines starting, if not removed, in 30 days after the election. Yeah, I think we read that this morning, but I don't know if they had to cover it up or something. I think I scrolled past another headline, something to that effect. Hey, Rick D says, wish I could do more for Eric's House, but a disabled vet and is limited. Happy to help. Rick, brother, my friends, anything is amazing. Even if you just do nothing and just sit there and just say, Eric's House looks like a nice organization. I wish them well. We appreciate that too. Thanks for that. Hey, what's up, Rick? Thanks for that. Amazing. We've got Radice says, I'm sorry I have short on donating towards the Princess Grace Kelly diamond engagement ring. Oh yeah. Radice's really helping with with my future engagement, obviously. And so we're working on getting the Princess Grace Kelly diamond engagement ring, which, how much was that? Was it like 4 million? Or was it more than that? It was like 40 million? It was really big, right? But we're working on it. Radice's keeping a ledger. Your watchers want to see a real baby in your arms, so get on it, from Radice. Is this Radice or is this my mother? I can't tell. Either way. All right, thank you, Radice. All right, we'll get a big ring. Once we get that ring, it's a no-brainer once we get that. Hey, Rick D says, "Wow, Mel's, thank you." From Rick. Thank you, Rick, for saying that. And we had some other nice comments. Where did these go? This one from Rick D says, "I have lost far too many of my soldiers to suicide over the last 20 years. Yep. Yeah, yep. It's bad. It's a terrible thing. So peace to you, Rick, to them and to your families. And thanks for sharing that with us, my man. We've got Wells says, "This is always a nice place to visit. Might be the Spotlight," from Wells Mortensen. In the other Amsterdam? I'd like to travel over there. Absolutely, I would. I think that would be a lot of fun. I've been to Europe, but not to Amsterdam or that region, that northern region. Rick D, good to see you. And MJ Powell, thank you, MJ. Look at this. 20 new membos are coming in. We got Deb Shaw, Zero, Blueberry, Nina Shaw, Nat Tariba. We got Sheep Herd, Sarah Long, C. Warren, Shantai Ak Pathiong. Welcome. We've got No Jabski and Jason Green, gifted membos, courtesy of MJ Powell in the house. And here's some more. Laura's here. KC's here. Craig L. We got Pink Husky, Reed's Nest, KM. If Josh Can't Fix It just came in. Beth Ann Poole. We have Martha Crawford and Relaxing and Restful. Gifted membos, courtesy of MJ Powell in the house. Thank you, MJ, for bringing in 20 new membos. And BH Williams is here saying medical misadventures. Medical misadventures with, it sounds like a short story with the CDC or something. Yeah, it doesn't sound good. Thank you, BH Williams, for those. And my friends, very nice donos. Thank you so much for sending those in. John Donut, K Bean, Carrie B, playing hooky, modding the fort down for us, clipping things for us, keeping things nice and orderly. Thanks to our amazing mods. We love you guys. And my friends, that is where we will leave it on the day. Now we are going over to watchingthewatchers.locals.com. We're going to hang out there, going to do a members only debrief, see what the comments look like, see how everybody is doing. And of course, we would love to see you over there. But if we do not, well, the plan is we're coming back here tomorrow and we're going to need to see you right back here so that together, with your help, we can shine that big, beautiful spotlight of accountability and transparency down upon our system with the hope of finding justice. Make it a beautiful night, my friends. Sleep very well. I'll see you right back here tomorrow. Bye-bye.